Growing up as a Jehovah's Witness means growing up with Jehovah's Witness artwork everywhere. For the past 40-odd years, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society's art department has produced some of the most recognizable religious propaganda in the world. All done by unpaid volunteers living in a compound, mind you. Psychedelic interpretations of Bible prophecy, visions of a future paradise Earth, and horrifying doomsday imagery are my childhood, so even though they still kind of haunt my dreams, I have a weird sort of nostalgia for them. In a previous video, I talked about the Bible story book, the children's book from my childhood that had some really weird art. Today, and by today I mean a stream I did earlier in August, I talked about the Revelation book, and I wanted to edit that stream into something more cohesive and digestible and edited like the one I had done before. So I hope you enjoy.
So let's start with this, because I think about this all the time, this weird tract. Sound off in chat if you remember trying to place this as a child or a young person or any kind of human, really. Imagine going to somebody's house on a Saturday morning and showing them this little picture. Will this world survive? Part of the fun of looking at these pieces of art is that it's propaganda art, and I got into that in the previous video. The thing with propaganda art is that it is very clear in its intent, right? It is very clearly trying to communicate a message, but I think the reason why this tract is not really in circulation anymore is because it's really not clear to me what this is trying to communicate. This is the prototypical survivor of Armageddon if you're a Jehovah's Witness, isn't it? It's like kind of just a generic man in a suit, and you will be standing before the entire world in the Matrix, unclear.
Of course, when you leave the witnesses, that's like you really left the Matrix for real, though.
And maybe we should, just before we get into some really dark stuff, quite frankly, look at something very nice. All suffering soon to end. I mean, how great is that? What, you're saying you like suffering so much? No. We're coming to your door, we're saying we want it to end. We'd like the suffering to stop, thank you very much. We're Jehovah's Witnesses. Ideally, we'd all be in person around a campfire talking about this. What do we like about the Revelation book? I'm gonna tell you what I like. I like page fucking 1. This kind of thing. This, just a very realistic guy, but then you've got kind of cartoonish candelabras floating around him. What a strange mood. It's almost like he's got a newsman's green screen of a globe behind him, like the jw.org globe that they have swirling around in the background. I like this gentleman right here. I like this liminal space that he exists in. It's this little office. This is a 1988 office, not a 2006 office, I assure you. First of all, he has like an Alexander Graham Bell telephone, a Bellophone. Was there ever a push from Alexander Graham Bell to call it the Alexander Graham Bellophone? If not, I think that's a missed opportunity. This one I really like because I remember these old people. These old people really stand out in my memory as people who exist. XJW Caleb. I think that he pointed out that these were probably Bethelites at the time, like people of the anointed in Bethel that they were actually depicting. And that's probably true. That was probably what they were going for. And now they're all dead, rotting in hell. I love these pictures here because this really brings up like very specific memories of what it was like to be a Jehovah's Witness. Like this, wearing my little coat, giving a presentation in the winter. I was a little black boy, just like him. No, I was like this kind of pasty guy. I was like this family. I was like this really nerdy white family. Like this hairstyle, these dresses, these versions of the publications, you know, like it or not, it is nostalgic. It's bittersweet nostalgia. Oh God, white Jesus. Yeah, this is the shit. This is the shit right here. This green thing always reminded me of the Looney Tunes logo. Whatever that thing is that the Looney Tunes bust through. This is Jesus? Or is it Jehovah? I think this is Jehovah, right? Because this chapter is the magnificence of Jehovah's celestial throne. And so I think this is Jehovah. This was always my depiction of Jehovah, like in my brain as a kid. Like I was praying to like a golden guy who wears a crown and sits in a chair. It's Jehovah because they didn't draw his face. That's how you know. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Because if you saw Jehovah's face, you'd go blind for a week. God has the ability, does he not, to make a face that would not make you go insane if you saw it. Why doesn't he just present himself with like, I don't know, nice face like this? Is this so bad? Some would say it's godly. This imagery was always very crazy to me. Like, wow, this is a depiction of the dreams that God gave people? Why would he give people dreams like that? But I don't know. It was very, like, creatively inspiring as a kid. I always liked to draw. I think I found this kind of stuff really inspiring in a weird way. But boy, like, what a great painting. And what I was talking about, like, kitsch art. I think what I find really exciting about these pieces, and what I always still like to look at, even in like their new Ezekiel book, Pure Worship of Jehovah Restored at Last, it has some of these really psychedelic, trippy depictions of Bible prophecy. I think what I like about it is you can see the passion of the artist come through, because this is something that purely imaginative. You know, you're taking these really esoteric, vague descriptions from the Bible, and you're trying to visualize them into something coherent. And if you're a Jehovah's Witness, I don't think that there could really be much of a greater honor than getting to depict this in a publication that's going to be read by millions of your brothers and sisters, right? So I feel like good art, even when it's bad art, you always see a lot of the artist in it. You can just feel the artist having a good time. And I think that's why these always feel exciting, is because they're really interesting and imaginative and really weird. But also, like, stylistically really of the time. Like, they don't paint like this anymore. The versions of this that exist in the Ezekiel book are trying to depict like photoreal versions of this stuff that have more realistic like dimension and perspective. It's which makes it weird. But this is kind of like how in Superman 2, the Phantom Zone is just like a flat square or triangle or whatever. It's depicting this really psychedelic thing purely flatly. Did that make any sense? I don't know. Boy, oh boy, we've zoomed out even further, and it's literally Burning Man, folks. And they got their little pots with their farts. That's what they are, people. All of these galaxies, they're just looking down upon all of these galaxies sending their farts to Jehovah. And look, we know it's a fart because they're at a toilet right there. And they're playing the harp. They're harp farting. Now, I don't know what's going on with this one crown. I think one of the angels fell into this hole, like in Mario Galaxy. You know, when you die, you swirl into the gravity well, because there's just one little crown here where, like, a angel is supposed to be, but he pulled a Wile E. Coyote and, like, looked at the camera and waved and then fell down and his crown stayed behind. I think that's what it's depicting here. That scene from the Bible. But how crazy. And then you got this guy like, hey, come on, check it out. Like, what is this perspective? Is the perspective like when you're a governing body member, you're one of the anointed, obviously. This is like first person camera view, POV, you walking into heaven. And you get to go down this weird Hunger Games ceremony until you meet old faceless Jaw up there shooting lightning like all the good guys in fiction. White Jesus, we can show his face because he's hot, but not so hot that you can't portray his face. Now, all these horsemen are kind of cool, but the best one, this is a runner-up, that this Nicholas Holt's character from Mad Max, this guy, you want this tattoo, right? I want this tattoo. The question is where to get it. Answer, my left arm, bicep. Come to your local alt-worldly stream for great tattoo ideas, especially this silhouetted death in the background. It's amazing. I think it's Famine, right? Or no, this guy's Famine, because he's all emaciated. But for now, we have business to get to. We have art to appreciate. Art such as this. This really, really stuck with me as a kid. To me, this tells such a story. It told such a story because this chapter is like, you know, talking about how horrible the destruction is going to be in Armageddon. They hid themselves in caves. It's depicting people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses being destroyed in Armageddon. And they can try and hide in these caves. Like these people who are beating each other up. Like, no, this is my cave. No, this is my cave. And these otherwise clean-shaven Anglo-Saxon motherfuckers who really just look like Jehovah's Witnesses they had at Bethel. Nope, they're getting destroyed, baby. And they're just getting pelted with rocks to death. One of God's favorite ways to kill people. He really likes the theatrics. Remember that talk that Jeffrey Jackson gave, how
Jehovah, when he brings about something exciting, he does it with style.
We know that our loving God, Jehovah, will do things in a wonderful way. Yes, he does the unexpected, and he does it with style.
And he gives this weird talk about how Jehovah always does stuff with style.
He has to be humiliated walking around in front of Mordecai on a horse, wearing the king's clothes. That's style. Jehovah didn't have to do that, but when we look back on it, that really is style, isn't it? Yes, he has style. Now that's style. And then this is where it proves again Jehovah has style. Now, not only is that style, but it was practical.
Very weird, almost like lascivious talk where he's salivating over God being so stylish.
Style.
Now this shit right here, this is wild. Like, look at this. What are they doing? Hold it back. Hold these storms back. This is the planet Exegol from Star Wars, quite frankly. I mean, look at this lightning. But yeah, they're like literally holding back the storm. Are they holding back like the 4 winds or something? Is that part of it? Yeah, the 4 winds. Don't ask me what that means, but it stood out enough that when I saw these guys making that pose, I was like, ah, yes, they're holding back the 4 winds, of course. These are things you worry about as a child, Jehovah's Witness. And here you go. This is more POV stuff. You got to get like page 98 into the Pornhub POV section to get to this, but it's there. Sorry. The great crowd owes salvation to God and to the Lamb. This reminds me of BioShock Infinite, which was very obsessed with the biblical nature of like the lamb and all that. It had a lot of great propaganda art too. If you've never played BioShock Infinite, oh, it's a good XJW game and less racist than the Spirits of the Dead brochure, but you know, a little iffy in some places. I know you'll get to, but page 307 made me feel good. Like a little architectural model. Busy little angels pushing marbles around. Yes, we are going to get to this. I'm trying to find my marbles, my favorite marbles that I love to talk about. But I do think it's worth talking about whatever the fuck these things are. Holy shit. This gave me nightmares. These are what my dreams were like now. Just fucking Jason Momoa with a golden horse body and a scorpion tail, but none of it's hot. It's just terrifying. Awful. And they have these jagged teeth. Do you see that? Like this guy, you can almost see like his drool tendrils. Really, really creepy. What were the people like who painted this?
My name is Rogelio. I'm part of the art department, and I'm a digital illustrator.
I want to see their rough drafts. I want to see the fucking sketchbook of these guys. It's probably full of like weird nudie drawings of like their crush in the congregation, them together in paradise, and then you just have what should absolutely be my next tattoo, which is the bisexual brigade just rolling in. What could this possibly be? Horses with lions' heads, breathing fire, and snake tails being ridden by extremely white Italian men wearing rainbow colors, rainbow vests and leather pants.
Style.
I love this. I love this. I think I might have to make it the new banner of the channel. Why are they alarmed? Now, this is not a painting, but just look at all these old publications. Look at this. These old covers of books that were just like some imprinted silhouette drawing with some golden text. You had to really imagine what the inside of the book would be like. Very, very satisfying, those old-timey covers. Yeah, no big deal. Just, I think, a nice angel stabbing people and killing them for their sins. Where's my marbles? Oh, man. Well, you can almost see this guy's marbles, really. I mean, he's handing up this guy a towel to wipe his marbles and deal with whatever terrible fluid buildup problem he's having in his knees. He needs surgery yesterday. But then the really weird thing is his face is like entirely two-dimensional, and then it gets more realistic and detailed as it goes down. What a weird piece. Is this good or bad? And the hand is super realistic. Like, look how realistic this hand is in relation to everything else. They've got like 8 layers of shading on that hand. I find this very scary. This always stood out to me. First of all, now he reminds me of like the Hobbits in the Peter Jackson movies. It looks like he's wearing Hobbit makeup. But even though this is John, it's the Apostle John, I always thought this was Jehovah, like measuring out the building on Earth. Like it seemed very godly, even though I know it's not what they're going for. Okay, I want to find my beautiful marbles. I could talk about this for 9 hours, so I have to make some calls. Damn it. Listen. I wanted to find the marbles, but I had to talk about this first. I'm obsessed with this picture. First of all, as a Nickelodeon kid, of course I thought this was slime. Of course I did. Thought it was slime or gack or perhaps even flubber. But no, it's bowls of anger. Isn't green the color of envy? The physicality of it is very interesting. Even though they're trying to be symbolic, it was very literal in my head. Like, it makes God's destruction very tactile. He's really trying to get his hands dirty and really fuck up the earth with his Nickelodeon gack. Okay, so I had to stop on that as I look for my picture of the marbles. Imagine if I just am wrong and there's not even a fun picture of marbles. It's hard not to stop down on these. It's hard not to stop down on these pictures, especially this one. This one really, like the cave one. Like, if you would have asked me earlier today, I would have thought that those two pictures were in the same chapter because they're very connected in my head. The imagery of, like, during Armageddon, people are going to be crawling for their lives as Earth opens and buildings fall into it. Really terrifying imagery. Again, I had a lot of problems sleeping as a kid, and now it's not super surprising as to why. Now, something that is worth pointing out, everyone knows about this iconic great harlot, Babylon the Great, sitting upon a dangerous wild beast. But people forget, this is not our only picture of the Great Harlot. I think this is a real great picture of her. She's really serving some 90s fortune teller energy. This picture of our Great Harlot seducing Pedro Pascal himself. She's getting the Mandalorian involved up in all this. Although his mustache, I suppose he's more Joel from The Last of Us. Oh, and look. Then she gets drunk on blood. You gotta remember, folks. It's all fun and games to ride a wild beast with a bunch of different animal heads, sipping mead or whatever she's drinking, or no, she's drunk with the blood of the holy ones. And the United Nations is to blame. Okay, I gotta get into the 300s. I gotta get into the 300s so I can find my marbles. But I gotta talk about my other friends that I love so much and I think about so much. This is another image in this book. I think the fact that it was on the bottom of the page was very fun for me. Like, it seemed like the kind of thing that I did in the Watchtower. Like, I would doodle in this blank space under the page. It's very fun. They have all these people with varying degrees of detail and love put into them. Because I think, like, this guy and this guy over here are struggling, but then the people in the middle seem more like real people. Although I don't know, this guy here, his eyes are like going two different directions. Got really big lips. We haven't talked much about lips yet, but that was a big feature of the last time I talked about Watchtower art. They like juicy lips. So do I, but they really like them. 308. Is this the picture that we're talking about? Is this the oh, here's fucking marbles, baby. All right, let's talk about these. This picture is very exciting, and our commenter who brought this up mentions that it's nice. Like, this vision of heaven is very satisfying. First of all, it's all made up of all these precious gems and stuff. It seems very celestial, I guess. Guess you could say that heaven's celestial, sure. First of all, what are these? Like, what is this, a door? Is this like a complicated door system where you need to, like, slide up under the ball like a double dare challenge? Also, that wall is not very high because he could just reach his arms up and climb up this wall. So I don't know how strong this gate is. Like, the ball actually would be an effective door because I don't know how the hell you get through it. Or maybe they're just going to drop it through the hole for fun into whatever fun heaven whirligig that goes down into like a gumball machine. They have some vague idea of what life in heaven's going to be like. They have some concept in their head as to what they will be doing in heaven. They clearly think about it a lot. We had that great Sam Hurd bit, which I'm going to make a soundboard one of these days, but it's where he says, we get to heaven, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be taught how to fight. Yeah.
So when the anointed are called to heaven, one of the first assignments is to fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Style.
He talks about the like military training they're going to get in heaven for the great day of Jehovah, where they start attacking the nations of the earth and, you know, killing all those people in those caves that we were looking at earlier. And so they have some sense that there will be an organizational structure in heaven, that they will have like assignments. Anthony Morris,
Jehovah,
had like a really specific stuff about he's able to, like, he has these visions where he goes into a zone.
at the Colosseum, the Ark of Titus, you know, I go in a zone, you know, and the sister, Kessia, she's a Gilead grad with her husband Eric, really knows what she's talking about on the tour. But see, I just absorb it. I went into that place, and when I started getting some of the details,
The sisters, when they're in heaven, they're all going to be the same gender, so they're not going to be able to pull their woman card on them because they're all the same gender.
so I always tease the sisters, you're not going to be able to say, you don't understand. Because those resurrected kings are going to say, oh, yes, we do, honey. And you better do what you've just been told to do.
And they're going to have to work together to accomplish whatever assignment. It's very, very strange. But what is this? What exactly is this depicting? I'm not sure. Yes, it does look like a shrine puzzle in the new Zelda games where you have to get the big sphere into the target. And great comment. Is this what they mean by pearly? These are literally pearly gates. These are gates guarded by enormous pearls. This is not the pearl of small value, folks. This is the largest pearl in heaven. And then thought the pearl action couldn't get any better. Well, holy fucking shit. This is crazy big pearls. Let's get a little bit of context this. As we noted in our opening chapter, Jehovah's Witnesses have over the years published other enlightening books on Revelation. Now we again draw the attention of all truth lovers to the powerful Revelation prophecies and their fulfillment. If people want to ignore the warnings and counsel in Revelation, well, let them do so! Exclamation point. He that is doing unrighteousness, let him do unrighteousness still. Wow.
If he doing something bad, let him do that bad thing.
Strong words. Bold words, those. If it is their choice, those who are wallowing in the filth of this permissive age can die in that filth. Things I read as a child. Shortly, Jehovah's judgments will be executed to completion, starting with the great destruction of Babylon the Great. Let meek persons be diligent and heed the prophet's words. Seek Jehovah, seek righteousness, seek meekness. Probably you may be concealed in the day of Jehovah's anger. As for those who are already dedicated to Jehovah, let the righteous one do righteousness still, and let the Holy One be made holy still. The wise know that no temporary advantage coming from sin can compare with the lasting blessings to be enjoyed by those who pursue righteousness and holiness. This guy is getting like sucked into the run-on sentence. Boy, oh boy. Bold proclamations, I gotta say. They will die in their filth. That's the kind of stuff I was reading growing up. I know this sounds like old man yells at cloud kind of stuff. That's how that sounds to me. That's how it reads to me. Now, I have to find for you my favorite Watchtower quote of all time. You may have noticed, I said bold words, those. Well, even as a witness, this was a running joke between me and my friends. There was a Watchtower just a couple years ago that contained a very fun phrase, and such members could not willingly and conscientiously engage in the taking of the life of human beings. Bold words, those. So bold words, those, is still a joke between me and Christina today. Anytime we hear the word bold, that was a joke with my witness friends.
Darth Vader, only you could be so bold.
Words, those. Good times. Bold words, those. So that's now a fun quote you have in your brain, and that will haunt your inside jokes with your friends. Okay, let's just close out our intense study of the Revelation book. First of all, look how many old white people will be happy. They'll be saved. This is the next page. Like all these like filthy people are going to die in their filth. But don't worry, all the white people will be happy. It's really, I didn't intend this to be a stream about race, but the publications, they raise some questions. Oh my. Is that good what's happening to them, or is that bad? Is that like Gandalf showing up at daybreak and blinding all the orcs or whatever. And the marbles are good because they put it on the back inside cover. Like, hey, what's going to be great about this book? It's going to be a big-ass marble. And you're going to wonder, how the hell are you supposed to get past it? Is it a door? Is it a shrine puzzle? Now, we didn't get to whatever this is, but it looks like Jesus marrying someone hot. And I wish we would have thought to look into who he's getting married to and why she's so hot, and is he allowed to finally nut in heaven? Somebody always had a crush on that lady. Well, I apparently was not paying close enough attention to the inside of my Revelation book. Kind of an anime vibe. The hot lady's the entire 144,000. Is that what the governing body thinks, that they're going to come together and form a human Voltron of this hot lady who we will zoom in on? Let's really soak in. This is Jeffrey Jackson you're seeing right here.
That's style.
Jesus is about to give a big smooch on the lips. It's Jeffrey Jackson. This is Sam Hurd. Sam Hurd, an African-American man. He is now a white, blue-haired woman.
Mommy?
About to make out with Jesus himself. Gage Flegel.
Praise God.
Jeffrey Winder.
What?
Damn it, I did remember his name. And the rest. All those old motherfuckers are housed in this one being. Small cheeks, those.
Style.
Bravo.